You're tuned into RX Radio. Movement prescribed. Brought to you by Prescript.com. A personalized approach to keeping you healthy and making your best even better. Your hosts, Dr. Jordan Shallow and Dr. Jordan Jiunta.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of RX Radio. This week, I had the pleasure of sitting down and talking to a friend of mine, Trevor Kimm. Pretty interesting story. We talked about kind of how he got into weightlifting in a very short amount of time. He's done a lot in the sport of weightlifting. He's actually competed a couple times now internationally, so he's made a couple international weightlifting teams to represent USA. We talked about how he was actually in Italy as this whole COVID crisis started to go down. He got out like right before they shut down the borders. So it's pretty interesting. I think his diet consists of like mainly pizza and broccoli or something like that. Trevor's actually graduating, I think this December, chiropractic school. So we had a lot in common. I had a really good talk with him. It was good to have him on the show. He's going to be opening up a practice in Indianapolis, Indiana, inside of Lift Lab, the weightlifting gym there. So if you guys are in the area, make sure you check him out. You can find him on Instagram at tkim2ms10. So reach out to him if you guys are in the area, if you need a strong-ass training partner, or if you need a chiro. And also, before we get into this, if you guys haven't already and you're interested in the Prescript Level 1 certification course, we have another class starting this November. So make sure to head on over to www.pre-script.com, sign up and get in. This is the last one of the year. There's going to be some changes to the course coming soon. Other than that, we have some exciting things coming. Talking in the vein of weightlifting, we're going to be offering a weightlifting educational course by yours truly coming up in the very near future. So keep your eyes out for more information on that coming soon. Head over to the website, sign up for the mailing list so you guys could be the first to know when that's about to drop. But let's get into this podcast with Trevor Kimm.
Played baseball and basketball growing up. Ended up playing baseball in college a little bit. I played all 4 years, and I played in a summer league called the Prospect League. It's kind of like I would have probably equated it to like a JNHL type thing. I know a lot of your guys have Canadian listeners, so they might be able to relate to that a little bit. And then after college, I hopped around playing in a couple different independent type leagues, like a couple tryouts, couple things with like the Reds and the Royals, but nothing ever really materialized. So started to go into physical therapy because that's kind of the route that my school pushed, my undergrad pushed, and realized that I really did not want to work 5 days, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and found a different route in chiropractic. And I feel like chiro school and being a chiropractor kind of gave me options to make more money and create a life where I don't have to work for somebody else. I hated it. I hated having to answer for every little thing that I did, like in the physical therapy clinic. It was unbelievably annoying.
I feel like that's one of the reasons that we kind of get along is because we don't necessarily work well with others. Maybe that's not it, but it's I at least have this kind of opinion of how things should be done, and a lot of times it doesn't align with what you get into, kind of with the set mold of physical therapy, chiropractic, that kind of thing. And it sounds like you kind of have similar viewpoints.
Yeah. And I get it. When you work for big companies like that, like I was working at a pretty big physical therapy company, and at the end of the day, for a lot of them, as a company, it's about the bottom dollar. So if you're not doing something that helps that, then you're doing it wrong. So
yeah,
figured working for myself, I can kind of do things how I want to and kind of reap the rewards and or suffer for the lack of due diligence, I guess. But
Yeah.
Going pretty good so far, I guess.
Good, man. Yeah. I always, when people are getting into chiropractic, are curious about it, which I think I met you when you're probably about maybe halfway through school or something, maybe a little deeper than
I think before that, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I get a lot of questions about people asking if they should go to chiropractic school, and that's always my first question is, why do you want to do it? If you don't have like a good reason about it, or at least an opinion of what you should be doing, why you should be doing, it makes it really hard to kind of get through all the bullshit and make it into what you want it to be.
For sure. I don't think I could have made it, like if I would have went straight out of undergrad, I think I would have really had a really hard time, like, understanding why I had to deal with this bullshit.
Yeah.
But
so how many years of baseball was it in between there?
just the summer after I graduated, I kind of went from a place in Ohio, and then tried out for another place in Kentucky, and then I got asked to come to California for a summer league, and then it just kind of. I talked to the guy that was wanting me to go out there, and I asked him what the odds of getting a contract were. And he was like, to be honest, you're going to play with a bunch of 16 and 17-year-old kids that we just got from the Dominican that throw 100. So he was like, unless you go out there and hit 15 home runs and hit 330, like, you're probably not going to get anything. I was like, well, I guess I'll find a different route. And
change the plans.
Yep. And then that's when kind of weightlifting came into the picture.
Yeah, because I've seen it a couple times, but I feel like that's not a very common transition. It's from baseball into weightlifting.
No, there's really only one other guy that I know of that's been pretty successful with it, and that's Phil Sabatini. I know he played pretty high-level college baseball too, but other than that, I don't really know many baseball players that.
So when did weightlifting start for you?
So I kind of messed around with it in 2016, like early 2016, just learning what a snatch and clean and jerk was, to be honest.
Right.
And then after about 3 months of training, probably 3 months of doing them relatively consistently, I snatched like 115 and clean and jerk like 150. And I did that dropping into some gym and Fisher's, and he was like, how long have you been doing this? He's like, I don't know, a few months. He was like, you should probably like actually put some effort into this. And so I took his word for it, and then ended up qualifying for AO finals at my first meet, so that was nice.
Nice. Not many people are going to excel that quick. So that was only 4 years ago right now, and then the beginning of this year, you were in Rome was that your first international competition?
Well, I did so my first international meet is actually where I met you and Shallow. It was one of the meets in Vegas that was kind of like a hybrid meet.
That's right.
One of those little, like, Arlie Mendez was in my session. I got second to him. Right. So he ended up snatching like 5 kilos under I clean and jerked, I think. So
yeah, well, he snatched like 170 or 175.
Yeah, he snatched 170. I think he did 170, 207. And rumor has it he was drunk at 2:00 in the morning that morning. So.
Fuck yes, in Vegas, of course.
Oh yeah, of course it's Vegas.
But I remember he almost bombed out that meet. He missed like his first 2, right? So that would have put you going better international.
Yeah, I think there were 5 of us. It was me and John Downey were the 2 from the U.S. Right. And then like 2 guys. There were like Japan brought a team.
Wow.
So there were a couple guys from Japan in that session too, but yeah, and then Italy was the first, like, if you want to call it actual international experience where it's not in the country.
Yeah.
And that's a different level.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. That was some pretty high level lifting there. So what was training for that, and actually going overseas dealing with, I mean, that's got to be like what, a 9-hour time change or something?
Yeah, it was ridiculous, and I didn't sleep 1 second on the plane.
Dude.
It was ridiculous.
So what was that like, including like the training up to preparing for, and then the actual travel and competing in those conditions?
I mean, training always goes pretty okay. I'm always in okay shape, but part one boards was like a month before, so I spent a significant amount of time trying to make sure I didn't waste my money taking that test.
Better man than me.
And then, well, after I passed that one, I basically spent no time studying for the rest of them.
Yeah.
I actually have one next weekend. Part 3 is next weekend.
Okay.
But the training was going okay, and then the day before I got on my flight, I like herniated a disc doing RDLs. So from that Tuesday, like, and obviously I know what the symptoms are. It's like I know what that presented as. Kind of know what I need to do to take care of it. And so, yeah, I didn't do a full clean or a squat from the day I hurt my back until on the competition platform.
Jeez.
Like, so the meet didn't go as planned, but it was still awesome to be there and watch people my weight class snatch 75, watch Lasha snatch 200 in the training hall like it's a toy.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, just to be around that, that's next level. Like, to see weights that heavy move that quick, it's just unreal.
Yeah, and it's a different thing watching it when they're a platform away from you, as opposed to like on Instagram or YouTube or whatever.
Oh yeah,
watching somebody legitimately power snatch 200 kilos, it's a different beast.
That's stupid. Stuff like that just makes me wonder why I even try weightlifting. Why? There's no point.
You clean and jerk double body weight. That's more than 99% of people can say.
Yeah, I'm better than Lasha. He'll never do that shit. Oh, man.
What would that be? That'd be like a 320 kilo clean and jerk.
That'd be pretty impressive.
Yeah, to say the least. It's nuts.
Oh man! So how'd you end up doing at the meet? Did you?
I mean, I went 2 for 6, pulling it out. Yeah, I think I did like 42 and 75. So not great, but considering the circumstances, I wasn't terribly upset. I guess at least I totaled.
Yeah, so it's definitely not ideal circumstances.
No, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy too, because you were in Rome like the beginning of the year when all this COVID shit was starting, right? Was there anything going on over there right then?
Legitimately, everybody on Team USA got sick, but like me and Meredith Allwine, like almost everybody else. Like it started with Piros, and then like, so we have like a WhatsApp, so everybody, it's basically a big group chat, and then like Monday or Tuesday, Pierce was like, "Hey guys, I'm sick. Can somebody get me masks?" And I was like, "Masks? That's a strange like request." And then now he basically forced to wear them everywhere. So.
Oh shit! So
yeah,
you guys are like pretty much patient zero. It's the USA weightlifting team, huh?
Oh yeah. We left, or I flew out. Some people were there later, but I flew out 4 days before they shut the travel down from Italy to the U.S. So, like, I got out just in time. The guys that competed late, like West would have competed on like Friday or Saturday, which they closed the border Sunday. So, cutting it close.
Dang, that's wild. Yeah, so if it wasn't an unfortunate circumstance to start with, it had definitely ended with one. That's nuts, man.
Yeah, it was. Looking back, it's like, oh, probably should have been a little bit more careful, but I didn't get sick, so.
So do you feel invincible now?
I haven't really, this might not be politically correct or whatever, but I haven't really worn a mask at all besides when they made us in school. Like, because luckily during this whole lockdown, one of my best friends owns a gym. So obviously I didn't have to take any training off. I just got to go hang out with him and train. And then I just moved back from St. Louis, which is where school is, to Indy, which is where I'm going to open the clinic. And then down here, everything's pretty much back to normal. There's still some things that are like that are weird as far as you can only have a certain amount of people in a gathering or whatever. But for the most part, everything's pretty normal. So luckily I haven't had to suffocate myself for 6 months.
Yeah, that's good, man. So you're opening up your clinic when?
Well, assuming I graduate on time.
Fingers crossed, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in 10 of 10, so it's 2 online classes and an internship, so I should be good. But
awesome. Planning
on opening a clinic January 1st or 2nd, whatever it is.
Awesome. Is that going to be in Lift Lab? Is that where it's going to be?
In there's 2 offices in the basement at Lift Lab, in the gym at Lift Lab, and so I'll be treating people out of there, hopefully kind of following in your footsteps, treating out of the gym.
I'm so sorry, man. Don't follow too closely.
Okay. I'll regret it. Well, I guess if things don't open up down there, you can just come treat patients with me.
There we go. Sounds good, man.
It's closer to Pennsylvania for you anyway.
That's true. An easy commute. I just think of like Indiana, like basically from like Pennsylvania to like, I don't know, a little bit west of Indiana, like Kansas maybe. It's all like the same basically, and then it turns into the desert in the Midwest somewhere, and then there's like California. So it's like
New York,
it's all the same.
Cornfields, desert, California.
Exactly. So you're somewhere amidst the cornfields out there.
Surrounded by cornfields.
Nice, man. Cool. So practice plan to open the beginning of the year. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about your experience in chiropractic college, kind of your view, your take on the profession. That's something that I feel like we used to talk about a lot on the podcast, and it was just turned into a lot of shit talking. So we stopped doing it.
Well, bringing that topic in, it might not stray too much away from shit talking, but
right, exactly. So having an athletic background, I mean, coming from the physical therapy side of things, coming from a background in baseball and more recently high-level weightlifting, how does that play into kind of your take on the profession, where it's currently at as far as the curriculum, the education that you got in school versus kind of the education that you've obtained from more your experiences in athletics and in sport?
As far as how my experiences will kind of dictate practice, I am a firm believer in, if you're going to treat athletes, which is what everybody goes to chiropractic college wanting to do, right? What do you want to do? Work with athletes. But if you haven't been a high performer or are currently trying to be a high performer, like, what are you doing? You have no prerequisites to be able to tell somebody that snatches 180 kilos what to do. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Laying around crawling on the floor is not going to help somebody's shoulder stability with a 200 kilo jerk.
Yeah, I fucking love it. You're in a DNS practice right now?
Yeah. I mean, and they don't do a ton of it there, but it's rampant through school. That's
a new hot thing.
If you go to like R2P, like the rehab club, it's basically 100% breathing and DNS is how they treat. And if you look at like classical physical therapy, so like actual rehab, you don't see any of it. Like, at least in the 30 clinics that I spent time in, I didn't see one DNS pose. And then if you want to talk about performance, like go into any strength and conditioning room, any collegiate professional strength conditioning room, almost guarantee you none of them are doing 3-month prone. You know what I mean? Like, you got to load management, move some weight. That's dynamic and stable, not to rant on it too much. But other than that, I think the curriculum is getting better. It's a lot less, at least at our school. I don't know what your guys' curriculum look like, but at our school, it's getting a lot less classical chiropractic, more integrated healthcare, which I think is a great job. We have 3 of the smartest human beings I think I've ever met teaching at our campus.
Wow.
One of them's name's Norman Kettner. He does imaging. He's basically our DAC program director, but he does a lot of research with Mass Gen and Harvard, and has a lot of research published in integrative care and needling, and how all of that translates into a better practice model. Yeah, I mean, we've got some really smart guys that teach, but you also have the classics that you just have to kind of put up with and pass the class to get through.
Yeah, definitely. I always feel like there should be some sort of course on like, generally like strength and conditioning or like periodization or some sort of more strength-based curriculum in school like that.
For sure. And there really isn't much of, like, again, I don't know how your guys' school was, but we didn't really get much of a rehab setting. And I know that's not necessarily what we do. We're not physical therapists, but that definitely needs to be fixed. We need to get some type of rehab based, some type of strength conditioning based. 'Cause I didn't hear the word periodization one time in school. Right. I probably heard more student doctors tell patients not to have their knees go over their toes when they squat than the word periodization. It was ridiculous.
I want to fight my patients when they come in saying that. And actually, I want to fight the person that told my patients.
Whoever told them that.
Exactly. Yeah, we had it was about 5 years ago now when I was in school, but we did have one rehab class, and it was all about like bands and Bosu balls and like side planks and all this stuff. And there's an application, but it's a very limited application. If you're working with like highly disabled people or like an elder population or just people that are unexposed to any sort of real strength and conditioning, then of course that can be, there's a time and a place for that. But yeah, like you said, if, I'm sure you're not, especially being in Lift Lab there, you're not going into this to work with people to, get them to hold a bird dog for 23 seconds instead of 15. You're going there to, have them put 200 kilos over their head. So
yeah, I'm trying to help somebody squat 250 kilos for reps, not do a body weight squat so they can hold their grandkid, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely, and you'll get them all, and it's good to have, I feel like once you can scale the application to the extreme, then it's much easier to pull back than it is to go the other ways. Is if you live in the realm of bird dogs and side planks, then it's so far out of your reach to be able to apply that to someone who squats 250 kilos for reps, as it is to go the other way.
For sure, like you said, there's definitely going to be a patient population where the McGill's Big Three is going to do them wonders. It's going to be excellent. But when one of my best friends, his name's Kenny Stevens, he's just front squatted 250 for a triple the other day. Like, if I give him a bird dog, like, that's doing nothing for his core stability. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You got to be able to scale it. And that's part of the problem with that I experienced in school is they give you McGill's Big Three because that's what most people are going to have. But what happens when you get an NFL lineman that comes into the room? Like,
exactly.
That bird dog is not enough stimulus. That dude gets ran over by a truck 50 times a week. That bird dog's doing nothing.
Absolutely. Even in the general population too, is bird dogs, it's got its end. Like, there can be someone that can bird dog perfectly fine. They're still experiencing symptoms from their disc herniation, that sort of thing. I mean, fuck, you said you herniated your disc a week out from competition and you snatched 145 a week later, and this is still less than a year. What are we, 7, 8? I guess fucking who knows? It's 2020, 10 months out from that.
10 months out.
Yeah, and you just jerked 200 kilos. So, So what does that process look like for you? I think that's honestly why I've learned so much, is because I've fucked myself up so many different ways that I've learned to treat. I know how to treat a wrist injury. I know how to treat a shoulder injury because I've had all this stuff.
Oh yeah.
So what that process look like for you?
Just scaling back. So obviously, knowing that I had a competition coming up, you can't tone it back too much. You have to do whatever you can possibly do at whatever pain level you have to do it at.
Right.
But after that competition's over, like, I didn't take time off because that's not me. But I took a step back. I made sure that my core function was great. Made sure that I wasn't having any radicular symptoms down the leg. Made sure that everything was kind of, all the boxes were checked before I started doing heavy back squats again, before I started doing pulls. What really sucks is I heard it doing 120 kilo, like RDL. They like just for some extra stuff to move, and wound up on the ground. Great. But that rehab process is just like everything else. It's a slow progression back into full movements, back into high intensity. Keep the volume low, keep the intensity low until you know you're able to handle those loads again.
Yeah, absolutely. Do what you can as much as you can, and just kind of try not to feed into those symptoms or increase those symptoms.
For sure.
I think, yeah, that's one thing I felt really kind of unprepared for, was dealing with disc issues right out of school. Just because they kind of throw the research at you and tell, you know, some certain protocols, but it didn't add up to me the way that, you know, the way that it was taught to me. I'm like, I don't feel comfortable applying this to a client. So I think that's in itself is a really good experience that you had that'll definitely transfer over, especially to weightlifting.
For sure. And I think a lot of people will take a lot longer just from not having the information standpoint. Like, luckily I had the information. I know it's not something that's going to debilitate me for a long time. It's like, I'm not fragile, right? And I think that's what a lot of people think, is when they get a disc herniation that they become fragile. And that's not the case. Once it's healed, it's healed. And I mean, obviously take your time and check the boxes that you need to before you get back into full training, but don't be afraid.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick, because my girlfriend got a pretty bad disc herniation.
Nice.
So maybe the best way is that, you know, to learn is by you having one. Second best way is definitely if your girlfriend has one, because you're going to fucking know when you're doing something wrong.
Oh, yeah. She'll definitely not sugarcoat anything for you.
Yeah, that's for sure.
How long ago she heard it?
That was, oh man, it's a couple years ago now. Probably 2.5 years ago now. It was kind of similar timeline to your recovery. It was probably about 2 months of we really pulled back. She trained through it a bit, but it looked very different. It was kind of base level.
Yeah.
It was like a fucking 13 millimeter herniation. With anyone that knows anything, that's fucking huge.
Yeah,
like
that's a pretty big herniation.
Yeah, I think 3 millimeters is clinically significant. I think that's what it's considered, 3 to 5 in that area.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty fucking big one.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just, like you said, we scaled back. We focused a lot on core function. I think the biggest thing with people that herniate a disc with any sort of loading or barbell sports is their concept of core bracing. So a lot of people have just the wrong concept of what they should be doing to brace their core and control the lumbar. So that was her, definitely. So we really worked on relearning how to brace, making sure that she was breathing appropriately for the exercises. And then it was just, you know, partial range of motion, working up to full range of motion. Once we have full range of motion, we'll add in some tempos, and then slowly start to increase the loading. And probably by the end of the year, she had PR'd almost all of her lifts, you know,
that's awesome.
Snatch, clean and jerk, all that stuff. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's once you go through the process and you're kind of like, you're intimately engaged in the process, then you can apply that to everyone. That's the most valuable way to learn this sort of stuff.
For sure.
Yeah.
I 100% agree.
Yeah. Awesome, man. So I know you said you've been training through this whole thing. I guess Nationals is the next big meet. Is that the beginning of December?
Yep. You better be there.
All right, I'll be there. I don't know if I'm going to cut my ass down to 73 again or not.
No, just compete at 81, man. Who cares?
Yeah.
You still clean and jerk double body weight there, right? Do 62?
We'll see. 55 is my best. We'll see if we can.
Oh, that's not that far away.
Yeah,
Once you have to stop once you get to train in some air conditioning, you don't lose 4 pounds every session training in the sun.
Yeah, right. I'll have to double up the ribeyes too. Get myself up to 81.
What are you walking around now?
I'm about a little over 78 right now. It's like 78 and some
What are you
change.
talking about? Oh, I guess that would be a 5 kilo cut. That's pretty rough.
Yeah, I think this is, so my first time cutting down to 77, I was walking around probably about here, 78. I was competing at 77. I was like 78, 79. I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to cut down. I'm not going to lose any strength.
Yeah. Well, you've got that wrestler mindset.
Yeah, right.
Lose 20 pounds and still go fight 5 people in a row.
Exactly. Unfortunately, strength sports are a little different than wrestling.
A little bit.
Yeah. So I think I'm done cutting down to 73. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'll make one more cut for December.
Yeah, that's kind of my plan too. I was like in Italy, Piros, Mike, and Dave Spitz all told me like that I should not be a 96 anymore. That I should be a 102 or 109. And I have a hard time convincing myself to go up to 102, and convincing my wife that it's okay for me to be fat.
I feel like it's hard mentally to go up in weight, and actually kind of physically, for me physically too. But to actually kind of trust that as you put the weight on, you're going to be able to lift more weight. It's like a psychological kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. I always think, oh, if I weighed 105 waking up, like for sure I'll snatch 160. I'm not sure that it'll work like that, but
yeah. I don't know. It might.
It's a good thought.
Yeah, I definitely feel stronger to heavier body weight, but it's the thing is it takes time to put that weight on in a way that, like you said, you're not just going to be fat. Like you're actually going to be stronger.
Oh, and I would for sure just get fat.
Well, I feel like we had a conversation like a year ago or something that you were telling me the only meat you eat is pepperoni pizza. Does that hold true to the day?
Yep, that's unfortunately that's the only meat that I eat.
I'm gonna cut this part out of the podcast just so that our listeners don't get poisoned with this.
So I don't get a bunch of vegetarian hate thrown my way in 2 weeks.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll publicly shame you after this.
That's all right. When I told Wes was my roommate in Italy, and he was like, "Hey man, do you want to go get some steaks?" I was like, "I don't eat meat," and his jaw hit the floor.
So I feel like that's like a whole other conversation that we have to have. Like, what is training like not eating meat? How long have you been vegetarian? But most importantly, why are you a vegetarian?
I've been that way my whole life, man. Part of it is me being stubborn as a kid. So I lived with my grandparents when I was young because my parents had me at 15 and 16. So I lived with my grandparents. And I was like, this is coming from grandma, but she said when I was like 3 or 4 that I choked on like a cheeseburger or some chicken, and they could never get me to eat it. All growing up, my parents would like put a steak on the plate and be like, you can't leave the dinner table until you eat it. And I would sit there until bedtime. So when I was like 12, they're like, all right, if he's doing okay, like he's growing fine, he's healthy-ish for a 12-year-old kid. But yeah, and I just never, I would try it every now and again. I would try steak, I would try like pork chops and chicken and all that stuff. And I basically had to choke it down the whole time. So
damn,
like, this is not worth it.
That's wild. I feel like that's the stubbornness that transfers over to you being really good at strength sports, because that's all it is. It's like, I'm not going to concede to gravity today. That's the stubbornness.
Well, and it's always so funny. It's like people give me shit for being vegetarian. It's like, well, I can put 200 kilos over my head. Can you?
Yeah, that's why I'm a little bit jealous, but at the same time, I'm still going to keep eating steak.
Oh, yeah. I see you cooking up all this. You get more tags and steak posts than I get in general on Instagram.
That might be true. So it started out just stubbornness and has continued that way. So what does your diet look like now? Do you like track macros? Do you make sure you hit a certain amount of protein? How do you get your protein?
Yeah, I try to make sure I get around 180 a day. So like I'm still not deficient. That's probably low for weighing 100 kilos, but I eat Kodiak cake waffles like every day. Kodiak cake waffles with some peanut butter, get like 50 grams for breakfast.
Nice.
And then just some shakes, and I still do dairy and cheese and that kind of stuff. So you get it through there, but I did spend about 6 months tracking macros and like trying to make sure I did everything correctly with my diet, and it helped 0%. So I was like, I'm just going to go back to eating pizza a couple times a week and just making sure I don't eat like a complete asshole, I guess. But
I love it, man.
It's working out so far.
That's good. Yeah. I mean, I'd say that's one of the constraints for an athlete, a strength athlete that's not going to eat meat, is to at least make sure that you're tracking your protein intake. That's going to be pretty important to put on muscle.
Yeah. But, and I had a pretty good gauge after doing it for 6 months. I had a pretty good gauge on, all right, did I get enough today? No, go chug a shake real quick. So you get up to close to 200 at least. Or if I have a couple weeks of training that are real shit, I'll like go back on a kick where I drink an extra shake a day or make sure I get an extra 50 grams of protein in a day. And it seems to help pretty quickly. So it's usually me when I stop caring about it as much as when training starts to go to shit. So kick it back into gear.
That's good, man. Yeah, just kind of keeping a mental inventory of where you're at throughout the day, how much you're eating, make sure you're eating enough to support what you're doing.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of being in a routine. So I eat the same thing basically every day. So I don't really have to think about it too much. Plus a pizza on Friday before Big Saturday. So that's how the schedule goes.
That's the secret, a full pizza?
Oh, yeah. Well, crush a full pepperoni pizza and some breadsticks. You'll be straight.
Maybe it's
PR clean and jerk.
helping you out. That little bit.
that 8 slivers of pepperoni on the pizza is what's helping.
That's all you need. Minimum effective dose.
Hey, if that's the case, I'll eat one every day.
That would get you up to 102 in no time.
Talk about pizza in Italy. That stuff was solid. I could definitely eat pizza from there every day. No problem.
Man. I'm sure. I'm an Italian guy here that rips on me for drinking 7-Eleven Italian roast coffee and eating mod pizza. I don't think it's the same.
Nothing wrong with some fast food pizza every now and again.
Yeah, man. What's your go-to pizza?
There's a place in the Midwest called Pizza King.
King.
Yeah, I really like it for around here. But New York style pizza is my favorite for sure.
All right. Nice. Awesome, man. So what are the training goals moving forward towards December?
Well, I really think that 153, 187 is doable and will make people have to work to beat me.
Yeah.
Because that's a 340. There's probably only three guys that can do more than 340 on a consistent basis. It's like Bonnick, Phil, and Damron.
Yeah.
That's all that I can think of anyway. And unless Jordan Cantrell's going up to 96, which he always looks jacked, so it's hard to tell. But
yeah, dude's fucking yoked.
Yeah, but other than that, I'm not sure anybody else can do 340. So if we can do that and at least put my name on the list for one of the 17 Pan Am competitions that's next year.
Nice.
Might be a good situation. And then if I don't do that at 96, I'm definitely going up to 102 for nationals next year.
Oh, man. I'm looking forward to that. Not that I want you to fail. I just want to see you at 102 and how much pizza it takes to sustain that.
Hey, I'm going to be filling out that singlet for sure. Like Lasha belly hanging over the belt.
Oh, man, that's the look right now.
Hey, if it made me snatch 220, I'd be down.
Nice, man. Awesome. That's I mean, I don't know if I have any more questions. You got anything else you want to talk about?
I'm good, man. We need to do this again, though.
Yeah, we'll make this of a regular segment. We'll see what it looks like when you get set up into practice, and we could have another kind of follow-up conversation. Things are going. Maybe we'll get together in was it Atlanta?
In Atlanta.
December. We can
that'd be good.
We'll give our in detail analysis on the weekend.
That'd be good. I don't know if you want to, but I haven't booked a hotel yet. So if you want to share an Airbnb,
oh man, we'll be roomies definitely.
Also, if you have any clinic name ideas, shoot them my way.
Oh man, we're gonna leave this to the internet. If you guys have any clinic name ideas for Trevor, was it at T Kim?
Yeah, at T Kim 10.
And 2 M's in Kim. So you guys let him know.
Yeah.
All right,
man. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Thanks for being on today, Trevor.
Yeah. We'll see ya.